This week on What Do You Got? Pot's getting more and more legal. We're going to talk about it.
Oh.
Stay tuned.
Smoky smoke.
You're listening to Bro Down Podcast all fucking day. Oh, yeah.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Bro Down Podcast. I'm Andy Smith.
Hey, guys. I'm Tim Fulton.
Tim likes drugs.
Yeah.
And
Come on, go get high.
this is What Do You Got? Tally over here. It's his topic. Tim, what do you got?
Pot.
You fucking can't even hit the button. You're so
I
red.
can't. I'm so stoked. Get it?
So,
Boop.
pot.
Boop. So pot is becoming more and more illegal across the United States. of
Illegal?
America. No, legal.
Oh.
Across the
You said
United
illegal.
States.
Check the tape.
Can you play that back?
I'm not nervous.
So the multiple things are happening across everywhere. We know that the big ones, Colorado, Washington, have been legal for a little while now. New Jersey and New York are playing catch up with the tri-state area, which we are currently from. And there's currently a referendum that passed, I want to say, the Senate. I forget which one. One of the houses. So it's halfway through the legal thing to decriminalize marijuana. It passed 100%.
State or federal?
Federal.
Oh, yeah.
But it's going to probably fail on the other side because that's how.
Yeah, New Jersey's
politics
being
works.
like the tease at the bar, like, hey, you want to buy a drink? Like, no.
So
I mean,
on that note, there's a lot of cover, and I don't really have any structure to this. I just wanted to fucking.
Yeah, you like pot.
I just wanted to talk about it. My dad is obsessed. There's this guy. So right now, marijuana sales in New Jersey are going to be legal relatively soon. They're not yet.
Sales by who?
They're going to give out licenses similar to
By
alcohol.
vendors or by like
By
the pizza
vendors.
delivery guy?
No, by vendors.
Okay.
Will be. It's not yet. There's no license other than medical centers, which there's like 7 in the state.
Which is like medical.
And that's the other point. I'm going to circle back. There's a lot to talk about. So so it's not legal yet. It's about to be. But there are people who are using legal loopholes, which I find really funny. And my dad's obsessed with this one because it's in our hometown. You cannot sell marijuana, but you can give it away.
Donations.
Yeah. So, and I know someone who did something similar with turtles because you can't buy turtles in New Jersey. So you would buy a turtle tank and you'll get a turtle as a free gift. And they're doing the same thing with pot. Like there's a place in our town where you can go and you can buy a $50 lighter and they'll give you pot as a free gift. And it's a completely legal loophole.
Yeah, this has been going on for a long time with a lot of other stuff. Let me just educate you on the shit that people have been doing this for. So like illegal gambling houses, like if you wanted to open up a gambling house in your house, you can't pay or collect money from those people. So you basically say like, oh, you have to buy a soda when you come in. The soda is $200.
Yeah.
And buy the soda. Or the other one was buying pot. Fuck. There was a really good one.
Trying to make me look dumb now. I can't remember.
Yeah, I smoked too much pot. No, it's basically like you can't if you can't buy something or sell it legally, like you basically that's what it is. If you open up you can do this with a business, by the way. So there's yoga studios, right?
Okay.
So you basically say like I'm opening up a yoga studio.
Okay.
It's free. It's
Okay.
donation only. But there's a high suggestion that the donation fee is $20. So you don't have to pay taxes on it.
I don't think that's accurate.
If you're getting money donated to you, I believe the taxes are less.
I don't think that's not towards a bit. I'm gonna have to discuss that with somebody because that's,
ask around because if you do a GoFundMe,
Mhm.
is it taxable?
No. So there are charitable taxes, but it has to be astronomical, and it's for the giver, not for the receiver. Giggity. But
Yeah.
that's for an individual. It's not for a business.
It's not a business.
It's
not a business.
Okay.
You just have a studio and you hold a yoga class for free, and you take donations.
I mean, that's a great way to end up in prison. You would have to argue that in front of a judge.
Apparently, according to the people I heard, there's like multiple people that do it, and they've been doing it for years.
I mean, I still say that's a great way to end up in prison. But we're getting off.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah. All right. I forget what I was going to talk about.
Because you smoke a lot of pot. That's why.
So New Jersey has had this thing where I want to talk about New Jersey because we voted on legalizing marijuana, whether you're for or against it. We voted on legalizing marijuana a year and a half ago. A year and a half ago. And they've come out of the woodwork with all these reasons why they're just not ready yet. And they pointed to a couple of other states and they said they legalized it in 2 months and they weren't prepared. So there was a shortage of marijuana. And the legitimate concern, I'm sure I don't understand all the logistics.
That's such a bad excuse.
I know.
The government is just so reliable for making the worst excuses about why shit isn't done. Because they're like, what are you going to do? Put us in our own jail? Like, fucking, there's like, shut up, peon.
Yeah.
We'll do it when we're ready.
Yeah. They're saying that the concern is that the medical marijuana industry will take a hit because if someone needs marijuana and there's a shortage of it, now they can't get it because it's legal recreationally and everyone's going to want it. That's the concern. So we voted on something a year and a half ago and it's not legal yet because of that.
I have a rebuttal to that.
I go ahead.
Okay, so if you are going to sell, let me think of a good one here. If you're going to sell eye solution, right? Mm-hmm. You sell it at BJ's, right? If you're going to sell medical grade eye solution, you can't sell it at BJ's. You have to have a prescription for it. It has to have a higher standard that it has to meet. Medical marijuana has to meet a certain standard, right? You get paid more by the standard that your drug or whatever meets. You would rather sell 100 cases of prescription eye solution, most likely, than you would rather sell 100 cases of bullshit BJ's eye solution, because you're going to get paid a premium because it passes stipulation to be considered a prescription, right? You get reimbursed accordingly. So the fact that they're saying medical marijuana is going to run out doesn't make sense to me, because that medical marijuana is going to be of a certain grade from certain suppliers that are getting reimbursed from the medical prices, as opposed to Joe Blow's fucking pot supplier on Route 46 that's basically like it can be fucking skunk weed and it's fine.
You know, it's funny that you say that because their plan from the get-go is all these medical dispensaries are going to be allowed to sell recreationally first. That's going to be the from the beginning. The get-go? Geico?
Yeah, you said go get. You're acting like you're high, but you're not.
I'm not. But yeah, that makes 100% sense. If you're so concerned about the medical side of things, why not just say, I'm not sure about the grading of marijuana. I think that they might all end up having to have some sort of standard.
Yes, but the standards are going to be higher when a doctor is prescribing it. The doctor has to prescribe it out of a dispensary that is approved through a prescription, right? If you're going to sell GNC supplies, right, a lot of that stuff doesn't even go through the FDA.
Because none of this is going to go through the FDA.
Well, I'm just saying, like, as far as, like, if you want to make a supplement, like, all you have to do is literally just, like, put a fucking sticker on it. You can make it in your basement, and you could sell it in a store.
Yeah.
And then they have to prove that it's harmful before they tell you to remove it. But if you're going to sell something that is literally takes a prescription from a doctor, there's a lot more shit along with that, because there's liability from the doctors that prescribe it, from the pharmacy that provides it, and all this other things, all of which adds into the price of what you're getting.
Okay.
Right? And here's the other thing, too. If you get Advil from the store, it's what? 10 cents a pill when you break it down. If you get Advil from a hospital, how much does it cost?
Yeah,
because it's being
Advil's
reimbursed by
way.
your insurance company.
Yeah.
Which is what pays for your marijuana. They always charge you more when insurance is involved, because the reimbursement price is higher.
I don't think insurance pays for marijuana.
It might depend on what you're getting it prescribed for.
I don't want to go down that nuanced road because I don't know enough about that to comment.
I don't know about it either. All I know is that you have to go through more loopholes when you are prescribing a drug through a doctor, in which case I would almost bet more than I wouldn't that the price will reflect that in some manner.
I agree with that. I do want to note that I'm pretty sure even the medical side of things and coming soon to a store near you, the recreational side of things, pot is almost exclusively a cash business. Because of the federal deregulation, they can't even accept credit cards or anything like that. I haven't heard anything about insurance, so I don't want to comment on that. But anyway, the moral of the story is, if you were so concerned about the medical marijuana side of things, why don't you say medical marijuana has to supply X amount of people, and then excess can be recreational. So let the recreational shelf have two doobies on it at a time.
I would agree with you, but I think that is an example of a benign situation opening the door for other things in the future to get fucked up. And what I mean by that is when you're like, okay, we're going to let the government decide how much this gets and how much that gets. And you're allowing them to be like, okay, now we get to decide who gets what amount of pot, and we get to regulate that. Because they allowed us to do this, it's now like, well, we need it in writing. And they're not just going to put, like, for this specific situation with marijuana, they're going to blanket it with, like, anything to distribution of new drugs or whatever. We get to decide who gets what amount and what amount goes where, which is the fear I have with, like, just trying to rush the process. What they should just do, and crazy, marijuana is a renewable resource. It grows really fucking quickly, right?
Yeah.
Just let people grow more. It's the Garden State, okay? It's the fucking Garden State.
That's one fucked up thing about all this. We still can't grow our own. That's illegal.
Yeah, and here's the other thing too. They make all these stipulations, and a lot of and I understand, and I want to get your viewpoint on this, because there's certain states where I understand from a standpoint of like where the rules come from, but at the same time, it's one of those things where the rules are not enforced. Like a lot of laws, I feel like they're not enforced for a specific reason. It's because they don't really care about that law anyway, but the law stays so that if they need or want to fuck with you, they can.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So like certain states, like marijuana in Vermont, for instance, it's like you're allowed to grow your own, but you have to have 3 plants and they have to be 10 feet off of a main road. Like, why would that have anything to do with it? It's because if somebody's doing something that they don't like, they're like, somebody's going to fuck up these standards. Someone's going to do something in these standards that we don't like. And we can tell them to stop after that. Whereas if we just say they can do it and somebody's growing too much or whatever, we can't do anything about it legally.
Yeah.
So I think that they're probably trying to figure out, like, what's the best way that we can make standards in New Jersey to where if somebody starts doing something that is lucrative that we can't take advantage of, we can stop them legally.
Probably.
Yeah. They're trying to figure out how they don't ever lose.
Which is funny because they fucked themselves over. We had such a leg up over New York, which is catching up. They're taking just as long as New Jersey. They're about a year behind. 6 months behind? I don't know. Somewhere around there. We had the opportunity to turn around and say, marijuana is legal in the state of New Jersey. And we would have that crossover from New York. We would have people driving across, and we would have New York revenue in New Jersey, maybe for a couple of years, but still a couple of years of just dumb sales tax.
Yeah.
It matters, people.
Yeah.
And they just forgot. And they're still a ways off. I'm talking like this is about to become legal tomorrow. They're not close to legalizing this. It's going to be legalized, but they're not close to implementing it yet.
I think what I honestly think of what the issue is as far as legalizing marijuana. One of the main things, and this is just dipshit over here talking out of his ass. All these old fucks in politics and business are so old that they didn't think that this was going to be as giant and easily of a revenue as it was. Like when Colorado happened, everyone was like, now it's going to be legal everywhere. And then they were like, oh my God, Colorado did like 6 times the amount of revenue than alcohol sales in a year, in the first year. And all these fucking old dudes are like, fuck. Like, we never planned for this. We don't have our fingers in our claws in all these different ways to rob the fucking tax money out of this yet. So they're trying to figure out ways that they're like, we don't want fucking Timmy's pot supply taking all the revenue without us getting our fucking share. And it's not just about the tax revenue. They're trying to fucking figure out how to infiltrate every fucking level of this shit. They really do, because in this state, you get taxed for everything.
You do.
Every time money moves, you get taxed for it.
Yes.
And I think that part of the reason is that there's nothing implementing other than like, we get the sales tax. And they're like, fuck that. We need more than the sales tax.
Well, pushing back on that a little bit, what is to stop them for the past 2 years allowing legal marijuana, collecting the sales tax, and then from this point over saying, all right, now we get a sales tax and a marijuana tax?
Because the pushback's going to be greater once it's already been established.
Yeah, because every time the gas tax goes up, New Jerseyans riot in the street.
Yeah, but the thing is with gas is that you don't have a choice. You don't have an option. If you buy gas from an illegal supplier, you'll go to prison. People have been buying pot illegally for fucking a century.
Yeah, but they go to prison too.
First offense pot, as long as you don't get caught with like a fucking pound of it, don't do it again. That's what it is in this state. It's nothing. It's nothing. Especially if you've never been arrested before, It's nothing. And how many people that smoke pot actually get caught for smoking pot by a cop and get arrested? What, 1 out of every 20,000 times it happens? Very few. So I agree that they could do that, but the political pushback of like, if we just do it from the get-go, they'll accept it because they're getting what they want. They're getting the marijuana legalized. If we legalize it and then after that we're like, hey, we need a little more money, people are going to be like, whoa, what the fuck? Who's doing this? Whereas if you give them the cookie with the fucking the bullshit, they're more willing to be like, okay, like, I'll take the cookie. I want the cookie, so I'll take the bullshit with it.
Okay.
Because it's all political at this point. Like, how many people, honestly, compared to 30 years ago, think that pot is this horrific drug?
Not nearly as many.
It's nowhere near.
Yeah.
It's nowhere near.
One thing I think that the federal government did recently do, despite the overarching legalization being passed, they made it substantially easier to research. Because even researching it was extremely...
Yeah, because it X's out how many fucking drugs. How many fucking drugs does pot replace? A shit ton. A shit ton of harmful fucking shit, right? And how many... Like, dude, my dad was a DARE officer, right? There's a lot of shit you shouldn't do. Like, kids, don't smoke crack. Don't do meth. Don't do fucking heroin. Don't do any of that shit. But, like, remember those commercials? Like, hey, Sarah, I liked you a lot better when you weren't high all the time. And it's the dog talking to his fucking owner about smoking pot. Like, and here's the other thing, too. I'm going off on a little tangent here. But, like,
you're getting fired up over a topic that...
Dude, I don't even smoke pot. I never smoked pot. Like, I've smoked it, when I was maybe younger, allegedly, like a couple times, maybe like a little bit of an overdraft at a party or something. Like, I know what it smells like. I'll put it that way. But, like, all the prisons in this country are, like, what, 90% private?
Yeah.
Right. One of the biggest advocates for keeping pot illegal is private prison unions, because they're basically like a customer service, and they're like, hey, most of our customers get here because of pot.
Yeah.
Right. So say all of a sudden tomorrow, boom, gavel slammed, federally legal, every state's legal, totally fine to smoke. You can smoke it in front of the White House and fucking throw your butt in the fucking lawn. What do you do with all the people in prison for pot?
That's part of it. They want to expunge a lot of people.
Yeah. Here's the thing. If you killed someone during a pot deal, fuck you.
Yeah.
All right? Like, if you're just an asshole, scumbag, whatever. But if you're, like, smoking some pot or whatever, and it's, like, the third strike rule, like in California, and you're doing, like, 20 years in jail, let the fucking guy out of jail, dude. Like, let the fucking dude out of jail. But that's a problem. Because how many people are in jail for pot? A lot.
A lot.
A lot. There's a lot of people in jail for pot, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just smoking, but the young entrepreneurs out there.
And here's the other thing too, and this is another debate that goes back and forth, and I'm pretty sure I know kind of where like I stand on it, but people make good arguments, vice versa. But if you want to take the value out of illegal pot, make it legal.
Yeah.
Anytime you make anything illegal, you raise the value,
Agreed.
right?
Yeah.
So if you want to stop getting pot that's laced with all this shit from other countries and kids selling it and stuff like that, make it legal. Nobody sells booze unless you're a moonshiner in fucking Tennessee. Like, nobody sells booze. Nobody makes booze.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, people make booze, but nobody sells booze. You're
But
right.
the amount of
It's
people
not-
that made booze when it was illegal was a lot.
Well, yeah.
As soon as it became legal, they're like, oh, there's no fucking money in it because you can just do it.
You can just buy whatever you want.
You
yeah.
can just do it.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are talking about like the black market weed is still going to be less expensive than the store weed, probably for all the tax reasons, yada yada yada, which is going to be true. But you're still going to have people aren't going to want to always go down the corner to meet my guy on the street.
You're going to have your guys that have their brands or have their ways or whatever. But for the most part, your average everyday person, they're not going to want to risk losing their job, getting a fucking record, catching a charge for buying a joint from some fucking high school kid.
Yeah,
They're just going to be like, you know what? I'll
That
pay
you're
the
not
extra fucking $350.
that you're not sure about.
Yeah, I'll pay the extra $350 and get like professional, literally in a bag with like a little fucking stapled prescription thing on it.
Yeah,
And like, might cause happiness, euphoria, awesome taste buds, like
Yeah.
all this shit.
yeah,
Netflix will be way better. Like that's going to be one of the side effects in bold print. Way better.
sleep will be dope.
Yeah, sleep is going to be super dope. Work's going to be easier. You'll be more friendly. The average speed in New Jersey will drop by 20 miles per hour. Okay? Yeah. So, I agree. It should have been legalized a while ago.
Yeah,
I think that they are just trying to figure out how to they're not quite sure, like they want to be sure that they can get the most out of it. Partly why that it's taking so long.
yeah, yeah.
They want to make sure that, the American citizen is not going to reap most of the benefits. They want the benefits.
All right, Alex Jones.
No. Well, hey, listen. Yeah.
What do you think about marijuana? They're trying to rape our finances.
Hillary Clinton's a lizard.
Yeah.
She's a lizard. She rapes children.
But yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it should have been legal the moment we said legalize it. We voted on it. That granted, all right, the moment is a stretch, but a 2-month span to say, all right, we're gonna have this many. Every town gets one license to start with. Every county, you know what? Every county gets one license. We'll raffle it off to. There'll be $100,000 each.
But yeah, go ahead.
There'll be $100,000 each. We'll do a lottery system. One person each county. Go for it. That's fair.
It's decriminalized, I believe, in this state.
I believe so.
So, but here's the thing. Just as a public relations thing, the public relations between the American public and police have been horrific within the last couple of years. It's just abysmal.
the
right?
past, yeah.
Think about how much easier interactions between the public and police officers would be if pot was off the table.
Yeah.
How many avoided arguments, confrontations, conflicts, all the things that go along with that? If it's like, oh, I smell weed. Have a good night, guys.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yeah, cool. It's
what?
legal.
You know what? There is it is decriminalized. And I heard a story from a cop buddy of mine who went to a house to respond to an unconscious man. Long story short, not the unconscious man, but someone else was there, and it was a very trying time. So the guy looked at my buddy and hit the other officer, and he goes, "Do you mind if I smoke up?" And the guy was just like, "Go ahead, just don't get it on us."
Yeah.
Because we can't walk around smelling like
Yeah.
pot, but go for it, buddy. And a year and a half ago, can't. If you looked at him, it'd be like, now I know you have it on you, so.
And I understand, I understand from a certain standpoint because there's so many laws in place with like, it's not just like weed's illegal,
Yeah.
done. Like, it's like, all right, from this amount to this amount, it's this charge. Depending on if you have it in this kind of container, that kind of container, whatever the fuck. So somebody has to rewrite all that.
I don't know.
And then somebody has to refigure it out. But there's this weird thing where if you have X amount of marijuana on you, it can be considered personal use. But then if you have X amount of on you, but you don't have a medical card or it's in a certain container or whatever, it's like, well, now it's not. Now you can't. Now it's illegal.
Yeah.
And it's weird because you're just like, well, what's the like? That's where it gets all fucking. Just make it legal. Just make it fucking legal.
For the record, I agree with you. Just make it fucking legal.
Yeah.
But the difference is intent to sell.
Distribution. Yeah. But it's weird though because you can. Somebody explained it to me once who's very knowledgeable on the subject. It was basically like you can have up to like 3/4 of an ounce, let's just say, or just say 1 ounce. And you'd be like, it's for personal use.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, that's fine. But then if you get caught selling it, you could sell a joint. And it's like, no, you're going to jail.
Yeah.
But if they didn't see the sale and the kid just had it,
they would never know.
it would be like, it's my personal. They're like, oh, that's fine. That's okay. Wait, you're stealing tax money. Oh, no. Uncle Sam don't like that. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just legalize it.
Just legalize.
Just legalize it. Right?
It's time.
It's time. It's been time. When did Colorado do it? 2012? It's been 10 years, right?
Was it that long ago?
I think it's been a decade.
Oh my god.
Right?
I'm so
The only reason I know that is because Rogan came out with a special in like 2012 called Rocky Mountain High. And I believe it was because they made it legal.
Oh. Then yeah, it's time.
Yeah, it's time. It's been a decade. All right.
Colorado's always been slow, so we can't blame pot on that.
No.
But otherwise, they're still a state.
Colorado,
so.
after the first 2 years, was like, what do we do with all this money?
Yeah.
And then they probably fucked it up and went broke again. But whatever.
We shoot it out of guns. What? All right, guys, let us know in the comment section down below what you think about legalized marijuana in general and how you think the process is going. This is probably the most political we're ever going to get. I hope.
At least down here.
Yeah. We'll catch you guys next time.
You're listening to Bro Down Podcast all